Welcome everybody to the first edition of TAJJ Rewind. I am Randy Cresswell, sitting right here with the owner, founder, and president of TAJJ Wrestling, Adam Dunn. And you know what? Everybody who's going to be watching this is going to be viewers of TAJJ of the old. But you know what? We're going to have a couple of new viewers watching this, hopefully a lot more. So Adam Dunn, go ahead and talk about how TAJJ got going.
Well, it's something that started a long time ago. We actually have some footage from Fox 13 that we'll probably go show in a few minutes. It tells a little bit of the backstory on how it started in my grandmother's house. In her backyard, we started doing wrestling like I think a lot of kids did at that time. Backyard wrestling was the big deal in the late 90s. And that's what we did. And so it grew into a federation that we actually had on this channel in this time slot a couple of years ago, and actually had a good thing going. And just certain circumstances happened and it kind of fell by the wayside, but I think now it's a project we're looking at getting back into. So from its humble beginnings, we'll show some clips of that. And quite sadly, when Marcus O'Neill got hurt, it kind of just lifted the promotion up into the spotlight, because then we got broadcast television coverage. I think we had 24 come out the week before, then 13 come out the next week and beat them to the punch and aired that story. So we got some clips from that we're going to show also, Randy.
So exactly when did everything come together to where you came to, which everybody now knows, 2525 Summer Avenue, the transmission shop? How did everything happen there?
Well, what we did was we finally decided that, hey, this is something that we really want to pursue. Let's try to get this on television. And it's actually a funny story. Tyler Gibson, who is not with us any longer.
He's still living, just not with us.
He's just not with the company.
TAJJ.
I guess pursued other interests. But he said, they're not going to let us on TV without a wrestling ring. And he said that he had talked to the people at Access and that they would be willing to do something like that, but there had to be something real to it, like a wrestling ring. So it was coming up on my 16th birthday, so I was like, hey, instead of a car, I'll get a wrestling ring. And that's what I did. And that's how that started. And then my father's shop used to be a car lot, but being a transmission shop, they had no use for the old showroom. Mm-hmm. So we got thinking. They were like, that's big enough to do wrestling. And the ceiling was just tall enough. If you ever want to run a wrestling show and you're wondering if the ceiling is tall enough, 13 feet is the magic number. Trust me on that. That's what makes it work. So, I guess I have to keep going. There's
a lot to it. I mean, TAJJ has a big history behind it.
Yeah, so we decided to start running shows there. And of course, when it first started, it drew flies. And once we finally got the word out and people started hearing about it, when it reached its peak, probably in 2003, it would be standing room only sometimes. And then someone had the idea to do the shows outside in the parking lot. And when we did that, I think
that became a Showdown on Summer.
Yeah, that became our highly successful Showdown on Summer series. And it was even so ridiculous that the Matabus would stop, and the people would just sit there for a good 5 or 10 minutes and watch the matches. And just when you went back and rolled the videotape and looked at stuff like that, it was really neat to see such a public interest in it. And the parking situation got so bad. The place next door to us, the Antique Mall, mm-hmm. The guy came outside and was screaming at people that, and I'm quoting here, "This is not parking is not here for that venue," because there were so many people parking there that the large parking lot of the shop couldn't hold everybody. And the guy next door was kind of mad about all of that. So anyway, that was highly successful. Then we did the Battle at Ellison in 2002. That was our first show on the road. That's where the situation happened between us.
You and me.
We cleared that up since then. But yeah, Randy and I had a falling out, and that's when Randy did his own thing.
Let's not talk about my own thing, though. Let's not go there.
Okay. So then...
hang on. You want to talk about controversy, though. What about the situation that happened? I think all loyal TAJJ viewers will remember this. You and Chris Lex started having a little going at it, and he ended up busting up your car, and the cops got called, and he got thrown into the back of a squad car. I mean, how did all of that happen?
Yeah, apparently my car was a red Geo Metro.
Well, I mean, come on, your dad, transmission shop, you always had cars to drive.
Yeah, so Chris comes out there, and we're having our big feud. It's like a power struggle, I guess. Chris thought he wasn't getting the respect he deserved. So, we wanted to say, no, you've got to do this, you need to run, and he acted like he could run anybody down, so, run through this gauntlet then. And then he got mad about that. And so he goes out in the back parking lot of what Hank dubbed the Dunn Arena, and proceeds to smash the windows out of the car. True story. The tenants next door in the next buildings over called the police, and the police came out, and it was on the open of the show for years. The police came out and arrested Chris and took him off, and that had to all get handled after the show.
Well, to my understanding, he was able to get out simply because you decided not to press charges. I'm not sure, I wasn't there, so I'm getting the story from you.
Yeah, after the show, we had to go down there and not press charges, and we talked it out, and we had a match the following week that I think finally put an end to all that, because once it reaches that point, you've got to do something rather quickly.
Well, I mean, you two have buried the hatchet. Chris Lex, obviously having a great career in Mid-South Wrestling.
Yeah, from what I hear, I mean, I've actually fallen out of the wrestling scene quite a bit, pursuing some other interests. I think most people
I guess you can say fell out until now.
Until now, yeah. I think most people know I actually went ahead and pursued a career in television broadcasting and worked for a local station here in town. I've been really involved in that, and have just now gotten to a point where we can possibly look at to maybe bringing TAJJ Wrestling back in some way.
And obviously that's not officially, that's
official.
An idea that's being toyed around, but definitely TAJJ Rewind is a great way to get started.
Yeah, we did the TAJJ ringside for a while, and it was old classic matches, and it's just, we're not ringside. You can see we're not near any ring. So we decided to call it TAJJ Rewind. Thought that'd be kind of cool. So we're going to call it that. And we're going to kind of do some of the same things. We're going to show some classic footage and just to kind of remind the people what was on the air. And we hope to eventually have some of the wrestlers come on the show, talk about some of their matches, maybe go in depth, maybe talk about some things that were happening that we didn't quite get resolved because we went off the air. I'm sure there were several feuds still going on. They've probably been carried on into other promotions because, some of these feuds these guys had going on were just really a big deal. And I know a lot of these guys went to other Mid-South promotions, and I'm sure the people that were just, TAJJ viewers would like to kind of catch up on what they're doing. And though the video we're showing now is 2 and 3 years old, and a lot of these guys have really changed, and we'd like to have them come on the show and just, update everybody on what's going on, where they're at in their career now. I know Chris Lex, DJ Armed Robbery, I guess he could.
Jason Richards now.
By Jason Richards
God's
now.
gift, Jason Richards.
Jeremy
Get it straight
Kills,
before he slaps me.
Jeremy Kills, The Crime, all those guys. It'd be good to see where they're at in their careers now, and just get their opinions on what they would think about possibly bringing back TAJJ Wrestling. Because, it was really where a lot of these guys got their start.
Well, let's talk about some of the past of TAJJ. Other than what happened with the entire Fight Club incident, which we'll get into at some point, what would you say was the #1 top controversial moment of TAJJ? What do you think really started keeping the interest past everything that happened with Marcus O'Neill?
Well, I know there was just so much controversy and so much change that went on. Like I said, first Marcus O'Neill breaks his arm, Fox makes a big deal of it, and then that got us our first show on the road, and that was a big deal. And because of what happened there's a big separation of the company as far as you went your way, some people went with you, some people stayed here, alliances were formed, and that was a big split time. And then there was a time where we had the partnership with the IWA, a lot of their guys started to come in, that changed the face of TAJJ. Then Tony Myers came in and started booking some more shows on the road. That took it another direction. And you had guys like him and Charlie Laird that came in. When Channel 5 Wrestling quit, that just propelled us to the forefront because at that time we were the only wrestling on Memphis TV.
I'm trying to think of how long that was too. How long did that stretch for? That TAJJ was the only wrestling.
Well, you got to think Power Pro went off in April of 2001, and whenever Channel 30 started was in May of like maybe a year or so later, it seems like. So yeah, at least a year, I know, when we were the only thing going on. Then you had the guys like Derek King and them came in, and that was earlier on, but they came in. So there were so many, it was always something interesting, and not to rip off Power Pro, but you always could expect the unexpected. It would really change it from week to week. It wasn't the same old studio show. We'd be out in the parking lot, or we'd be on the road. And something that we did that a lot of shows don't do is when we did shows on the road, we would actually broadcast a good portion of them on TV as well, because a lot of promotions would have their TV show and then they'd do their house show and not really show much of it on TV. You wouldn't really know what happened. And that's where a lot of the big matches are, so we would show both. So it was a really unique company in that a lot of young kids were able to really start their wrestling career there, and I'm happy to hear from you who have stayed in the business, just to hear that a lot of these guys have really gone on and become really great athletes, and we'd like to see them back on Memphis television, because I know there's Channel 30 wrestling is no longer on its Saturday morning time slot. I think it's moved to Saturday nights.
Yeah, Saturday nights.
So, again, we're left without Saturday morning wrestling. It's something that I grew up with, something you grew up with, something that we're all used to. Anyone in the Mid-South who watches wrestling is used to turning it on Saturday mornings. It may have been Channel 13, it may have been Channel 5, it may have been Channel 30, but it was Saturday morning and there was wrestling. And, we still got this 11:30 a.m. time slot. Granted, it's public access. Granted, it's on Comcast cable, and you can only get it if you live in Memphis. But it's still keeping the tradition alive, and we're looking into doing other things with it, getting on a broadcast station. But everyone knows it takes money, it takes advertisers, and we're just trying to secure all that type of thing, a building, all that type of stuff to really bring it back and get it up and going good. And if we can do all of that, fans, then we'll be back with Championship Wrestling as soon as we can. We love to hear from y'all. We're going to get a website up and going again.
Which, by the way, that's what I was about to bring up, is you can go to ProWrestlingNetwork.com. Information on TAJJ Rewind will be on there.
Okay.
You'll be able to go from there. Right now we're getting everything lined up with the website, getting it up. But the quickest way to get information, ProWrestlingNetwork.com. That's where you need to go. We'll mention it later before the broadcast is over. And, of course, every Saturday morning, 11:30 on this channel,
here,
we're going to have TAJJ Rewind. And we're going to be bringing it all to you the only way TAJJ can, and hopefully you'll tune in you'll be able to tune in, and we'll have the big news for you that TAJJ Championship Wrestling will be returning.
We'll be finally returning, and I think something that we can do too, and of course, anytime you do a TV show, you do some show prep, but we didn't talk about this before. I just had this idea. Maybe on the website, we can have some kind of a way for maybe if the fans want to leave some feedback.
Exactly. Yes, we can.
Maybe if they have some ideas on what they'd like to see, what you liked before about the show, what you'd like to see different about the show. Maybe some of you have some connections on maybe some people that would like to help it out and bring it back. Because that was something else too. It seemed like almost at least once a month there was somebody new that always wanted to help out in some kind of way, and we really appreciate that. I mean, again, Tony Myers, he wanted to help. And he helped us book some shows on the road. The IWA guys wanted to come in and really help build a good program, and we were always so happy when people would come and help. And that's always kind of been the way TAJJ operated. And I want our website to be the same way. I want them to be able to come on there and just any ideas and stuff that they may have, just let them post it to the site, and we'll take a look at it. And we can go
TAJJ has proven time and time again it's a promotion for the fans. Now you, the fans of TAJJ, have the opportunity to help TAJJ. So on ProWrestlingNetwork.com, when you see the information for TAJJ Ringside, you just click on it, go straight to the site. There's going to be a big button there that says send your feedback. That's your job, to hit that button. Shoot us some email. Adam Dunn will get the email. I will get the email. We will hear from you on what you would like to see with TAJJ, what you may be able to offer, because TAJJ has always strived in helping the fans. Now the fans have to have the opportunity to help TAJJ.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that with bigger promotions that you just can't do. It's a local promotion on local television, and we want your local input. Let us know what you want to see. I think that we did a great job before giving the fans what they wanted. Obviously, the fan base would grow exponentially as we went on, And so I didn't mention earlier, we ended doing shows at First Choice Auto Sales.
That's right.
And we had a big fan base out there, and they helped us so much. They let us keep the ring stored there. We set it up every Saturday morning right out there. They even had the radio stations come out and do live remotes. We really had a good thing going. And so I just want to look into possibly, no guarantees, but I'd like to look into possibly getting something like that going again. And even if it's a thing where we work with some other promotions, I'd be happy to. I just want good quality wrestling back on Memphis television, as I think we all do. And however we can get that done, I know we produced a good quality product. I know there's other people out there that can produce a good quality product. Maybe we can put that together, we can get something done.
And if you want to see what we're talking about when it comes to the great talent that TAJJ once had and might possibly have again, the local promotions around here, Mid-South All-Star Wrestling, you can
check them out. What's their website?
It's MidSouthAllStarWrestling.com. You can check out IWA Wrestling when they're around. I'm not exactly sure what their website is, but if you hear the initials MAW or IWA, you want to check it out. I think
I've seen both those promotions personally, and I can tell you, I've actually worked for both those promotions personally, and there is some great talent. There's some great people in charge at both those places. Please, if you get a chance, I know the IWA doesn't run every week, but when they do run a show, it's something to see.
Exactly.
Take a look at that. I know MAW is down at the New Daisy Theater quite a bit, and I think they run on Sundays normally, don't they?
Right. The next date's going to be January 28th at the New Daisy Theater.
Can they check that out on your website as well?
Yeah, they can go to ProWrestlingNetwork.com. They can check that out.
Okay.
MidSouthAllStarWrestling.com. They can check it out there.
Yeah, so please, please support local indie wrestling. It's not all about TAJJ Wrestling. It's about anyone who locally produces wrestling. Please check them out. They all try just as hard as we will to produce a good quality product, so check them out as well. At some point, Randy, we've got to get to some rewind footage.
I was about to say we are going to go ahead and get to some rewind footage.
Okay.
So check out the rest of this footage, and of course you'll see Adam Dunn, Randy Cresswell back on TAJJ Rewind.
We're not gone yet.
We're not gone yet. We have footage that we're going to show, and then we're going to wrap it up when that footage is done with. So you just go ahead and stay tuned, and we got some footage coming up for you right here on the Rewind.
That was an illegal kick!
These kids work for hours bringing to life the TAJJ Wrestling Show.
Oh, a big back body shot! Yeah.
They practice their moves and choreograph what they do in this ring.
1, 2, 3, right there. Oh, a big suplex to the mat.
But for all that practicing, something went terribly wrong 2 weeks ago. The show you're watching never made it on the air. The Edwards family didn't want people to see what happened to their son, but you'll see it. This is the tape that never aired. You can see Mark Edwards climb the ropes to deliver an elbow drop on his opponent. We've slowed down the action so you can see exactly what happens next. Mark gets up in agony with his arm pointing at an awkward angle. That bulges his elbow. His arm is broken in 2 places. A break that could end Mark's sports career before it gets started. Mark's just 14 years old. Mark's screaming in pain. Fellow wrestlers don't realize that this is no act. Wrestler MKV follows Mark and keeps hitting him. Unaware, Mark's in real pain. Mark will spend months in a metal brace. He won't spend any more time in a TAJJ ring. Mark's parents have ended his wrestling career. But there are plenty of other kids to take Mark's place.
What would you rather me be doing? Going and doing drugs or partying all night? Or would you like me here with friends doing something I love?
Randy Cresswell dislocated his shoulder wrestling. Now he helps produce TAJJ, a show created and owned by 16-year-old Adam Dunn.
We worked it up from just, starting over at my grandmother's house in the backyard all the way up to what it is now.
It's a televised show where these kids break plywood on each other's heads and perform professional moves, like the DDT, the suplex, or the jackknife powerbomb. The same move that killed a child in Florida last year and a boy in North Carolina. When moves like this attempted jackknife powerbomb aren't done correctly, experts say kids can die from the head and neck trauma. Still, these kids don't wrestle secretly. Adam Dunn's father let them set up the ring inside his transmission shop.
Things can happen, and they will. They will. There'll be some kids hurt. But that's going to happen with yo-yos,
Adam Dunn says this is a professional wrestling ring. He bought it off of eBay for $3,000. Like most rings, it has a traditional plywood base and a foam padding. But the question is, are these type of home setups safe enough?
I wouldn't want my kids doing it because it's just the possibility of damage and injury is just too great.
Wrestling coach Adam Brown watched the show. He said even with his years of training, the kids attempt moves he wouldn't try.
This move right here is a inverted pile driver. They've actually outlawed that. They don't do it anymore in the pros because of the damage it does to an individual.
What happened to 14-year-old Mark Edwards' arm isn't an isolated injury. Each one of these kids say they've gotten hurt.
I dislocated my shoulder. I went flying out of the ring, as he said, landed right on my neck and my face and my neck and my shoulder. Just dislocate, you take it, sling it around.
So what do these kids' parents think about the injuries? They've all signed release forms, accepting the danger involved. This wrestling coach says no way would he sign.
The only thing I see happening is someone getting seriously injured, you know, and all in the name of fun. And I would hate for it to be my child that is crippled in the name of fun.
Choking, though. Oh, big choke slam!
It's fun to these teens to imitate the pros, but the pros get paid to get hurt. These kids just get hurt. Allison Triarce, Fox 13 News.
All he needs is a nice hair blonde. That's exactly right. But you know, I bet he's so broke and so poor, he can't even afford a $4 bottle of bleach.
Hey, now you see the drop kick by Turbo right there. It didn't even come close to having the height that the man, still the champion now on this show today, you saw Tony Myers had. Now how about that?
Man, I tell you, Tony is a veteran, but I don't believe he deserves that title in my opinion. Has a very poor attitude, if you ask me.
Hey, I think referee Smooth there should disqualify both of these guys. They can't even wrestle in the wrestling ring.
See, one thing about it, Turbo, he is like Jerry King. You got that right. He comes out here, gets all the people, slaps all the people's hand, gives them high fives, and then he wants to cheat, man. Now, what kind of stuff is that? Huh?
That's exactly right. That's why I say he went to the Derek King School of Wrestling.
No doubt about it. I mean, look at that. As you can see, Turbo is stomping up on TAJJ. TAJJ is definitely going to need some strength, need to dig in his pocket and get all he has.
He don't have nothing in his pocket. Turbo took it all. A little thief.
That did not come out the way I meant.
Look, dig in his pocket and get all he has. Is that what you said? Tell me the truth.
Hey, that did say that, but I did not mean it in that way.
You did not mean it. If you dug in your pocket, it'd be nothing in there either, would it? No, maybe another 30-cent pair of sunglasses. Now, how about that? Oh, look at the move by TAJJ. TAJJ is showing me more every time. What a great upcoming talent.
I mean, no doubt, check. Oh! TAJJ, not the biggest guy, but definitely one of our most high-flying athletes, if you
is what he is. He probably started at guard for his local high school team.
Man. But meanwhile, Turbo digging his strength back in as well.
Don't try it again.
Turbo's going to try again. He's already messed it up once, and he got lucky and hit it this time.
You know, I'm hearing about all this I can see.
Oh, kick out by TAJJ. Take a lot more than that to pin this TAJJ, I believe.
You know what? Before you go there, I just want all these people to know that tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Treadwell High, I will be there. I'm going to go on back to the back and catch my friend to Nashville. But I tell you what, Hank, you be there tomorrow night, and you're going to see Juicy Johnny Morton one more time, and Alcoholic, and the best action that there ever is, because we're the best that they're here in the TAJJ, and there ain't nobody that can beat us or stop us.
That's right. You know, I will be there. Yours truly, Smack Daddy Hank, will be there. Chris Lex will be there. Alcoholic here will be there. He'll be co-commentating with me, I believe.
That's right.
The Native American Quixote will be there. Johnny here apparently will be there. Bad Boy Michael Draffin. You know, the list just goes on and on. Dustin Chaos. It's going to be a great show, if you ask me.
What a card they have. Don't forget the big TAJJ Battle Royal going to happen.
Reno Diamond will be there as well, our champ. He will be there as well.
In the ring. Check 9 is just taking over on Turbo. And as you can see though, Turbo taking him up with the Turbo showing his strength, picking up that 95-pound man. A vertical suplex. I know Check felt that one. Once again, the referee forgot 3. Yes. And as you can see, oh, but Check is going out, giving it all he has. Oh, and he picks him up. Wait a second. Oh, nice. Oh. As you can see, Check was on the reverse. Oh, another lucky win for Turbo.
Oh, Randy, what some great classic footage we just saw. You know, TAJJ Wrestling was all about great action like that.
Exactly, and of course every week we're going to be showing classic rewind moments, and then later on throughout the upcoming broadcast we'll actually be showing matches of wrestling from around town that features TAJJ or former TAJJ wrestling superstars until TAJJ hopefully does come back. Then once again they'll be our superstars that we all know and love, and well, some of them we don't really love whatsoever. You know, like Play Like the Blazer throwing fire at people, or
hey, I used to throw fire.
You know what? I think I know why TAJJ went worked so well. You want to know why?
Why?
The book I gave you.
The book.
The book.
The Complete Idiot's Guide to Pro Wrestling. I think it was our bell ringer that worked the best. This microphone.
Thank you, Hank. Hank Russell. Smack Daddy Hank.
See, it's actually flat. It should be poofy like my hair, but it's not. It's actually flat, and Hank would ring the bell with this. So now we have one of these official broadcast mic covers.
And if you're a Tennessee Vols fan, you love it.
You
if
love
you're
it.
for a University of Memphis fan, you probably don't like it. And it's probably bad that this is only airing in Memphis.
Yeah. So
yeah, we must
get out of here.
Yeah. Stay tuned throughout every week, 11:30, TAJJ Rewind. We're always going to be here for you. Now you get to be here for us. ProWrestlingNetwork.com. Send your feedback. I am Randy Cresswell. This is Adam Dunn, and we will see you next week on TAJJ Rewind.
I've been waiting a long time for this moment to come. I'm destined for anything at all. Downtown, lights will be shining on me like a new diamond ring out under the midnight hour. Well, no one can touch me now, well, and I get to my bed, it's too late, ready or not at all. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! Dawning of a new era calling. Don't let it get you falling. Ready or not at all. I'm so close, enough to taste it. Almost, I can embrace this feeling on the tip of my tongue. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! But I think I like you stars. So, hey, hey. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! But I think I like you stars. So, hey, hey. I've been waiting a lifetime for this moment to come. I'm destined for anything